I better have made this worth waiting for now, hadn't I? I'm sure they've done that deliberately. But look, can I just firstly thank you, the organisers, in particular, Izzy and Warwickshire County Council, because I know that you were the instigators of this, and it's a really good opportunity for us all to get together, and thank our hosts, Warwick University as well, for hosting us today. I've been to the Slate on a number of occasions, and it's a great venue, and I encourage more people to come and use this venue, and it's a great view as well, of course. And of course it's in Coventry. I would say that, wouldn't I? Warwick University is in Coventry. I always have to make that point, so look, hopefully I'm not going to repeat what colleagues have said today, because on anything like this you will always get a certain amount of overlap. But I want to go slightly differently today, because Coventry is at a good starting place. It was one of the first cities to produce a climate change strategy in 2012, and we're already meeting the carbon reduction targets that were set in that ambitious plan at that stage. And we're well placed because we are home to some of the best R&D facilities anywhere in the world. 2 leading universities, obviously Warwick, as I said, and Coventry University as well, who are recruiting some of the best and the brightest and a good skilled workforce ready to lead the way in the new look industrial landscape. As a city, we're addressing climate change, developing more resource and energy efficient technologies, and we have other important innovations, and we'll be providing an excellent opportunity for our local economy and for job creation. And it also offers us an opportunity to improve life for those on low incomes affected by fuel poverty, poor air quality and food poverty, and whilst at the same time helping us to address reducing waste and identifying commercial opportunities to create a more sustainable future. But we have a huge challenge, and one of the things I always say to people is that our role and my role and all our roles in local authorities is not about solving climate change. We can't do it on our own. We've already heard, Rugby, 1% of the overall CO2 emissions come from Rugby Borough Council, exactly the same in Coventry. So if we went carbon zero tomorrow, it wouldn't really make a mark, really, in real terms, on addressing the issue of real climate change, not just in our country, but across the world. This doesn't have any borders. We've got to be really serious about how we address this. We can use our leadership role, and we can advocate, and we can lobby, but ultimately this is all about our communities, our industry, our people actually coming together to address this. Councils will not even touch the surface, but we can certainly lead a way in how it is we want to do that. And that is why one of the things I wanted to do when I first got this role was to set up Coventry's independent climate change board. And it's here to share policies, plans, good practice, and to work together collaboratively to keep the city on track for a zero carbon future. And I will say this now, and sometimes this is a little bit controversial, but it needs saying. Coventry haven't set a date as to when it will be carbon zero. And the reason why it hasn't set a date is it can't be achieved by Coventry City Council. And myself and my leader, George Duggins, will never be the people that stand up here or elsewhere and say, we're going to bring our city carbon zero by date, when we know we haven't got the tools, we haven't got the resources, we haven't got the policies to actually make that happen. But actually what we can do is advocate, as I said, very, very strongly, and actually show how we bring the different industries and people together to actually start demonstrating real change in this area. And one of the key points, and we'll touch on this, is we need to make sure that we bring our communities together. But to do that, we need to demonstrate action and not words. And can I say, and I know Margot addressed you earlier on video link, I approached Margot last year because Margot's got a wealth of experience in the political sphere, And as a colleague said earlier on, and he is absolutely right, for me, this has never been a party political issue at all. Because ultimately, you know, we all live, we've got one planet, we've got one opportunity, we need to get this right. And Margot is an ex-Conservative government minister, and that ability to get to the parts of power that, for example, myself, my colleagues might not be able to reach is key in order to bring the decision makers and those power brokers together to really make a huge difference that we alone would not really achieve. So I'm really delighted Margot agreed to be the chair of the independent board. And of course, one of our great partners in Coventry, Warwick Manufacturing Group, where we're doing a number of projects with them. Of course, Margot is the executive chair, and we have a broad range of senior representatives from businesses located in the city, public service providers and community organisations who are all committed to making the board work and achieve our plans for the future of the city. And like I said, the board is about action. It's not about words. We're not going to present, we're not going to develop a lovely shiny report for people to read. I want to see demonstrable evidence projects that can be demonstrated in our city, in our region, that can then lead the way as to how we tackle the real issues of climate change. And a number of projects will come forward. And we also want to communicate how residents of all ages can be involved. We must collaborate if we are to reduce our carbon footprint. And this applies to the public sector, the commercial sector, charities and voluntary groups of all sizes. Hopefully JLR will be joining our board. We've got E.ON on our board. We've got Warwickshire Wildlife Trust. I know Ed Green is here today. We've got the third sector, the public sector on this. Absolutely important that we do that. Now, as a board, we've identified 5 key pathways from low carbon development to sustainable travel and transport, and we're working to decarbonise our own buildings as a local authority and as all these businesses, and encouraging businesses and industry to join us. Coventry's installed 30,000 lighting columns across the city, and we have solar panels that we are currently installing across 40 plus buildings in our city. And of course we've worked through the European Regional Development Fund monies that were available through the Coventry and Warwickshire Green Business programme. And of course, again, this is about action, about policies that actually will make a difference. Coventry is leading the charge as part of the West Midlands Gigafactory just up the road at what was Coventry Airport. It has the potential to create thousands of new jobs and to power the green transport industrial revolution. I like to see this as climate change is an existential threat to our world and to our people, but it also presents us with an opportunity, an economic opportunity, because if we get this right and we take people with us, that's where we will make the single biggest change. And those organisations and businesses that are sometimes seen as the organisations that are the problem, whether it's the utility companies, the gas electric, whether it's the transport industry, if they're to survive in the future, they need to bring forward green technologies. So why wouldn't you work with them? Why wouldn't you make sure that they come forward with those great ideas and plans? And that is the whole point of our climate change board. Other examples we have in Coventry, as was said earlier, Coventry has more electric charge points than anywhere else in the country outside of London. We've got plans to install a huge lot more, and of course there are other plans across the region as well. I know George would have said earlier that all of our buses in 2025 will become all electric, the only city in the country to do that. And we have a fantastic collaboration, as I mentioned, with Warwick Manufacturing Group, Transport for West Midlands and Dudley Council to apply innovative research and development to the urban light rail sector. just making the point again, as a colleague mentioned earlier, it's not political. Dudley is run by the Conservatives. I made it absolutely clear all along. We'll work with whoever we need to in order to bring forward the best, most innovative green plans that we can as a city. VLR, Coventry Very Light Rail, is to create, the aim is to create a reliable, environmentally friendly, battery-driven, hop-on, hop-off transport system that will work at a fraction of the cost of a traditional tram. It's a pioneering world first. It will operate autonomously at a high frequency to provide a turn-up and go service. Coventry is also looking at, believe it or not, self-charging roads. Western Power Distribution is exploring the feasibility of wireless on-the-go charging for electric vehicles. A study, which is the first of its kind in the UK, will assess the viability of charging electric vehicles as they are driven by using wireless inductive technology placed under road surfaces. And in a world of connected and autonomous vehicles, Coventry is also in the driving seat. We are part of UK Autodrive, a £19 million 3-year project bringing together 12 private, public and university partners to develop and deploy driverless technologies on the streets of Coventry and Warwickshire. And I'll just touch, because I know a colleague touched on it earlier, retrofit of domestic properties. You'll hear later on, as part of our plans as a climate change board, we've commissioned a report from Leeds University as to how to get to carbon zero. And one of the things that is absolutely clear, the challenge is mighty, and just retrofitting all the domestic properties in Coventry would cost more than the whole country is spending on climate change policies as we speak now. And never mind older buildings and older domestic properties, there are houses being built at the moment that are not they are not future-proofed at all. They can't be. Heat pumps can work, but only in the setting in which the building is designed to meet them. And it is absolutely the incredible amount of money this is going to cost is extraordinary, and that's why we need the collective might of our economy to really make this happen. And across the other pathways, the Climate Change Board has identified already more than 90% of Coventry's residual waste is diverted from landfill and instead sent to the energy from waste plant up at London Road in the heart of Coventry. It's actually an old facility. It's been around since the 70s, believe it or not. It's moved on, but Coventry was ahead of the game there. Coventry's business, the Business Sustain and Green Business Programme is also helping companies reduce waste and encourage recycling and reuse of energy and raw materials. As I mentioned about Warwickshire Wildlife Trust, I thought I'd better get some photographs of some nice greenery in this as well. We're working across partners such as the Wildlife Trust on key initiatives in the city, such as the River Sherborne Valley project, which is worth £2.5 million. So this is my last slide, and I shall leave you in peace. And my apologies, I do have to go back to work now, so I'm not being rude if I just slip out the side, but I really hope that you get something out of today and you bring your thoughts and ideas to the party. And one of the things, if you get no other message from today, we can't do this alone. We need to work together to actually make this happen. But we've made a good start. We need to do more, and we need to advocate. We need to challenge, and we need to actually say, as a country, if we want to say it, we've got to. If we want to do it, we want to say it. We need to do it. And that is where we are. And I hope that as a result of this conference today, we're all able to move together forward in this work in the weeks and months and years to come. So Izzy, thank you very much, and I shall leave you in peace. Thank you.